Hey everyone, welcome to day 2 of Math 133. Today we are going to be talking about the Chapter 2, Project 1, and we're going to be working on that together. Okay. Um, the uh, Chapter 2, Project 1 uh, is going to cover some of the stuff that you looked at so far um, in the notes. If you haven't finished the notes yet, you're okay. You have until midnight tonight to get them turned in. After that, they'll be one day late, right? Um, so the notes that you needed to do by the end of the night are 1.1, 2.1, and 2.2. Um, so if so Gabby was asking, like, will they get marked off if they're blurry? Probably not. Yes, the due date says it's at 6 p.m. We talked about on Tuesday that in the syllabus it says that if you turn something in, as long as it's turned in before midnight, the day that it's due, you're okay, right? We talked about that. We also talked about on Tuesday that um, if anything is 3 weeks late or longer, it won't be accepted. One thing that I forgot to mention last Tuesday on Tuesday at our first class was that if for some reason you don't turn anything in at all for a 2 week period, you'll get dropped from the course. Okay. We have assignments that are going to be due every day. So if you fall behind and you just ghost me for 2 weeks, you'll end up getting dropped from the course. And that's not on me. That's not something that I am doing or that Jackson College. That's a law. So, yeah. Anyway, okay. For those of you who missed Tuesday, in Canvas, if you click on day 1, there's a recording that you can watch where I go over everything. We talk about the syllabus. Uh, the so make sure you watch that, okay, because that's going to have all the details about how the class works. And this is how the recordings are going to be put in is we're recording this Zoom session right now. So make sure if you do end up missing a Zoom session, make sure you go and watch it, because today we're going to be covering the Chapter 2 Project 1, and we're going to be doing that together on the Zoom. Okay. Now the recordings will I won't go through the entire assignment. I might give you like some hints. I might do a couple of the harder problems, okay? But just be aware that you'll want to watch those recordings, especially since some of the time they're going to have some important announcements, okay? You don't have to watch both of them. You don't have to watch the morning session and the evening session. It's the exact same material. So sometimes I'll put just one of the videos in, like if I screw something up or if I forget something, I might just put only one of them there. So yeah, anyway. Um, okay, let me switch to the student view. Okay. Um, okay, if you filled out the student survey, thank you for doing that. I haven't gone through and checked everyone yet to make sure that you did it. So the survey is in Google Forms. It's not connected to Canvas. So unlike the lecture notes where you actually upload it to Canvas, the survey I have to go and check. Okay, so it might say, "Oh, you're late. You haven't turned this in." If you did the survey, you're good. Okay. And then, like I said, the lecture notes, uh, those ones, if you haven't done them today, do them as soon as you can. Okay. Today, I'm assigning the 2.3 and the 2.4 lecture notes. Now, it says that those are due on Tuesday, but try to get them done by Monday because Cindy is going to be using that material in Monday's class. Okay. And that's always going to be the case. You're always welcome to work ahead on the lecture notes. Um, so it really helps because when you come to Tuesday's class, next week, we're going to do the the chapter 2 review uh, next week, Tuesday the 20th. We're going to do the chapter 2 review. And if you haven't watched all the material from chapter 2, I don't want you to get lost. Okay. So try to get those lecture notes done before class, not only before mine, but before Cindy's if you can. Okay. Okay. What else? What else do we need to cover? So today's project, we are going to be using StatCrunch, statcrunch.com. If you were here on Tuesday, then you saw me, work through how to get access to that. Okay. If you weren't here, what you'll do is you're going to click on this Access Pearson button. So I actually got some screenshots for how to do that in the technology links and info. So if you click on that, there are 5 pictures right here that talk about the Pearson steps. So step 1 for Pearson is you click on this Access Pearson button. Okay. Once you do that, and you're going to need to do this, if you didn't do this with us on Tuesday, you're going to need to do it tonight. Because we're going to be using Pearson, which is the owner of StatCrunch.com. So you'll get this big purple button here. You click on Open Pearson. And then once you've done that, you might have to hit continue. And so you're going to get here and you're going to click create an account. Okay. Now you don't have to pay for it. If you hit a paywall stop, okay, you have it's free for everyone in the class. Okay. So when you put in when you're registering, you're going to want to make sure you use your Jackson College email. So your my JCC email. Okay. Um, Make sure you put in a password that you're going to be able to remember, or you can write it down because you're going to need StatCrunch on the midterm. So I don't want to hear like the day before the midterm, oh no, I don't have access to StatCrunch. You're not going to be able to get those questions. You're not going to be able to do those questions on the test. So once you have registered, it'll ask you wait, and then you're going to click on this Access Now button for this particular textbook that we're going to be using. Now, we're not actually using a physical textbook or even an online one. We're going to be using the course map, okay? And then you're going to click on this orange MyLab and Mastery. And once you've done that, you're done. You now have access to StatCrunch, and we're going to be using that tonight, okay? All right, so that's all under technology, links, and info. We talked about all of that. Okay, so let's jump into the project. If anyone has any questions, as always, stop me, let me know if you have anything, okay? Oh, I did have one more announcement. So the 2.3 lecture notes, uh, they have they go through how to do relative frequency and a couple other things, cumulative frequency. There's a project associated with that was originally marked as due on Tuesday. I've moved that. We're going to talk about that project on Tuesday, and it's going to be due January 22nd. Okay. So you don't need to worry about that right now. We'll talk about it next time we meet. Okay. So the only things you need to worry about are the project we're going to do today, 2.3 lecture notes, and 2.4 lecture notes. So I'm here in Canvas. I'm going to click on the Chapter 2 Project 1. And in here, there's a link that's going to take us to the Google document. There's also a link that'll take you to the video and the video on, how to do the project. Since you're here in Zoom, you don't need that video because we are going to work through this project together. Okay. So you don't need to worry about that. Okay. But if you want to watch it afterward, if you need a little more of a refresher, you're welcome to it. So we're going to click on where it says this link. Okay. Open the Google document at this link. And here it is. This is the project that we're going to work on today, and we're going to fill in all the answers on this. This is in Google Docs. Now, I can't edit this right now. This is the template that's saved in that's available to all of the Stat 133, the Math 133 teachers, okay? So you're not going to be able to put your answers in yet. What you have to do is click on File, Make a Copy. File, Make a Copy, okay? You're going to make your own copy, and you'll be able to fill in the answers on that, okay? So as far as the name, you can name it whatever you want. I would love if you put your name in the file name. Oh, apparently This doesn't, that's fine. You don't have to update that. But I'd love for you to put your name in the file name just because if it gets mixed around, I'll be able to figure out who it is. I mean, I can figure out who it is anyway. It just makes it a little bit easier if your name's on there. You might have to change the folder. This is the folder where where all the templates are saved, and you can't save in there. So you can select My Drive, or you can make your own folder. So we're going to be doing a lot of different projects, and so if you want to go back and review them when you're studying, it might be better to have them in a place that you'll remember. So yeah, I'll just click on My Drive. So click on My Drive, hit select, and click Make a Copy. Okay. All right, so this is what I'm going to be using to fill in my answers, okay? So again, what I did was I went to Canvas, I clicked on the Chapter 2 Project 1, I clicked on this link, and then I clicked File, Make a Copy, and then I changed which folder I was saving it to. So Gabby, you're not going to be able to save it to the 133 Fall through Summer 26 projects. You're going to want to click on that and either save it in a new folder, or you can save it in My Drive, okay? And then click Make a Copy. Does that make sense, Gabby, or is it still not working for you? Okay, that works. Okay, so now that I've got this, I can fill in my answers. So my name, Joe Hopkins. Okay. What data set did you choose? So what we're going to do is we're going to find a publicly available data set on statcrunch.com. Note that your data set needs to have at least two qualitative variables and one quantitative. Okay. And it needs to make nice graphs. Okay. So we'll talk about that. All right. So let's go to StatCrunch.com. So open a new window. Don't close this one because this is where we're going to put all of our answers. Okay. But you're going to open a new window and type in StatCrunch.com. Once you're here in the upper right, you're going to click on sign in or register, and you're going to enter your Pearson username and login. I showed you just a second ago how to do that. We did that on day one. Remember, you're going to use your JCC email, and you're going to hit sign in. Okay. Once you've done that, you'll know that you're signed in because in the upper right, it'll have your email. Don't click on this orange button. That's just going to take you to a blank one. We will be using the blank StatCrunch often, but I want to use this button right here, data sets. Okay. So these are all publicly available data sets that someone else has been collecting data on. Okay. So information about movies, Thanksgiving, all kinds of stuff, superheroes, FIFA. Yeah. So you're gonna pick, um, oh, okay. So you're gonna pick a data set that you want to report on. Um, and just pick something that you're interested in. Okay. So if you like movies or if you like cars, okay. But we need to make sure that the data set that we select has two qualitative columns and one quantitative. Okay. So this movie one um, is probably not going to work because I need two qualitative. What does qualitative mean? What's a qualitative column of data? Qualitative variable. What does a qualitative variable look like? That's a question for you guys.
What does a qualitative?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Go ahead, Evie. Eva. So, um, so Jalen says a
I
bar
have
graph. So go ahead.
qualitative data is a quality or category word answer numbers used to identify something. Phone numbers, social security numbers, zip codes, area codes, patient ID. Can't do math.
Got it. Yep, that's the important part. Can't do math on it. So categories, okay? So most of the time, qualitative data is going to look like words. Not always, it could be numbers, but in this data set for movies, I have one column that's all words. I have months, right? These are all words, but I need two columns that are qualitative. And this column right here, the name of the movie is not a category, okay? That's a label, okay? When you have a qualitative column of data, uh, the data will not all be different. There'll be some things that are the same, okay? So in other words, when I graph this, if I use the movie title, I'm going to get a terrible graph, okay? I can't even use this. I don't even understand what this is, okay? When you're doing looking for a qualitative column, uh, your the uh, the words in that column, some of them have to be the same. Okay, and that works here for month, right? I've got December, December, December. That's good. Now they can't all be the same because if all of them were December, then when I do my bar graph, I'm going to get one single bar, and that's no good. Okay. But if I had like yeses and nos, that would be a decent column. Okay. So this particular one is not going to work because I only have one column of qualitative data. I got lots of quantitative data. Quantitative data, that is data that you can do math on. So that means that quantitative data has to be numbers. Okay, because you can take the budget and you can add them up and I can see, okay, here's how much money we spent all together. Okay. Here's how much money we made all together. Math makes sense on those numbers. Okay. That would be quantitative. All right. So this one's not going to work. So let me go back and take a look at some of the other ones. So that was the movie one. Now the Thanksgiving one does work. Uh, this most of the sports ones are fine. The superheroes one is fine. The car models one is fine. This one, the professor's salaries, this one is probably not going to work either. Um, Now I do have two qualitative columns, field and job title, and I got lots of quantitative columns. However, this data isn't big enough. This is not all professor salaries. It's only 87 rows. So this is only 87 professors. And so I'm not going to get a decent looking bar chart for this. So uh, when you're trying to pick out which data set you want to use, take a look at this size column. And you need something that's, so the professor's salary one is only like 7,000 kilobytes. That's probably not big enough. The superhero one is fine. That one's 47,000, so that's big enough. I like games, so I'm gonna look up games and see if I can find something. So, I don't play Overwatch. This one's about chess, but this one's probably too small. It's only 3,000. I'm going to do this one, the video game one, okay? Which means that you cannot, okay? When we're doing the projects, I want you to use your own data. So I want you to go through and pick a data set that you think is interesting, okay? I mentioned some of the ones that will work. Um, and it's okay if multiple students choose the same data set, but I want you to choose one that's different from mine, okay? Because the projects give you a chance to not just copy what I'm doing, gives you a chance to, learn how to do these things in the real world using your data. Okay. I know this is not your data, but let's just pretend. Okay. All right. So I've got this. Um, what data sets did you guys use? What did you guys pick so far? Go for a higher number. Yes, Gabby. Go for a higher number. Yeah. Superhero, that sounds good. Cars one, nice. Superheroes. Two qualitative and one quantitative. Yep. So let's go back to our Google Sheet, the Thanksgiving one. Nice. I like Thanksgiving. Let's go back to our Google document and start filling in some of these answers. So uh, question number 2 is what data set did you choose? Paste the URL. So in the data set that you selected, you just go up to the address bar and highlight it. You can right click and then hit copy, or you can hold the control button down and hit C, control C. If you're on a Mac, it's command C. And then you'll come over here to the Google Doc, you'll right click and paste, or you can just hold control down and hit V, and that will paste in the URL. So that way when I'm grading it, oh, I like that one, Chris. New York, leading cause of death. Okay, nice. What data set did you choose? I'll be able to when I'm grading it, I'll be able to see what you picked. Okay. All right. Next, choose a qualitative variable to make a bar chart with. Which variable did you choose? So Gabby, you'll copy and paste the URL into number 2. Okay. For number 3, we're going to put in the name of one of our qualitative variables. So I'm not going to use age because age is numbers. Now, numbers can be qualitative, like if you have zip code, okay? You can't do math on zip codes, okay? If my zip code is 49277 and your zip code is 90210, your zip code is bigger. Does that mean that your zip code is better? No, it doesn't. I mean, you can argue it does, but it's not. You can't do math on zip code. So zip code, even though it's a number, it's actually qualitative, okay? It's a category, okay? Age, on the other hand, is quantitative. I can do math on that. I can say, okay, this person's 19 years old. This one's 50 years old. I can subtract those and say, oh, that's a 31-year difference. I can say this 50 is larger than the 19, and that means that that person is older, and that math makes sense, okay? Okay, so I'm going to use gender for my first qualitative variable. So I'm going to put that in my answer right here, gender. Okay, so which qualitative variable did you pick? Again, when you're picking your qualitative variable, make sure you don't pick like names, okay? You need to have something where the column is sometimes the same and sometimes different, okay? So male, female, sometimes the same, sometimes different. Device would be fine. Like I've got computer, computer, but they're not all the same and they're not all different, okay? Okay, so now that I got that, what's the next question? So the next question, create a frequency bar chart of this qualitative variable. And the way we'll do that is we'll do graph bar plot with data. Graph bar plot with data. All right, so graph, and you don't have to click on it, you just have to hover over it. Bar plot with data. All right. You're going to select the column that you're using. So I'm using gender in this case. And you just hit compute in the lower right. Okay. And there's my bar chart. Okay. So once again, I went to graph, bar plot with data, selected my column, and then I hit compute. Okay. So now that I have this, I need to copy this bar graph into my answers, into question number 4. So to do that, there's 3 ways you can do that, and I'm going to show you all 3, okay? The first one is the one that I like the most, and that is using a snipping tool or a Snagit or a screenshot, okay? Every computer is going to have a snipping tool or some kind of screen grab. So if I type in snipping tool, here it is. This is the snipping tool for Windows. If you're on a Mac, it is Command Shift 4. You can use Command Shift 3, but Command Shift 4 is better. Um, if you're just on your phone, like you can do a screenshot, you push the home button and the screen and it takes a screenshot. But in the snipping tool, I click on new, and it's going to turn my cursor into a plus. I'm going to put it in the upper left of my chart and then click with my left mouse and hold it down. Hold your left mouse down and drag it down to the lower right and then let go. And here it is. Here's my picture. Here's my snip. Thank you, Nathan. You can also do options. Yeah, so we'll show you that in a second. Yep. So what I like about the snipping tool is you can actually draw on it. I use this all the time. Whenever I'm, making email for my work, like, when I'm doing an analysis and I need to send it in an email, I, do a snip. Okay. You right click and click copy. You come over here, question number 4, and we'll paste, and there is our bar chart. Okay. So, okay. So Gabby, so question number 3, you're going to need to select a qualitative variable in your data, and then you'll go to graph, bar plot with data, select your select the category you're going to graph, and you hit compute. Okay. All right. So another way that you can copy and paste this bar chart into your answers is you can go to options, copy, and that does not copy it. That just pops up a new window where you have to right click and click copy image. And then you can come over here, and for question number 4, you can paste that in. Okay. All right. The last one is you can do options download. I gotta name it. I'm gonna name it delete this because I'm not gonna keep it on my computer. And hit OK. So that's gonna put it into your downloads, and then you can open that in, whatever picture application or that you have. And then again, right click, copy, or hit Control C, and you'll paste that into question number 4. Okay. All right. Now, when you're doing this, I want to, it says, make sure that this is a bar chart that's readable. Okay. So what do I mean by that? So let me go back over here to the data sets. So if I was looking at like this FIFA one for soccer, I don't know if anybody picked the soccer one, but if you do a bar chart, so graph bar plot with data, and I do this for, let's say I do this for um, club, this is a terrible bar chart. Okay. I can't read this. Not only, so are there so many different clubs down here that I can't even see them all, right? I also can't tell which bar goes with which. So even the ones I can read, so like, you know, this one right here, Seoul, Korea, which bar is that? Okay. So when you're creating a bar chart, if you have more than 20 categories, you're going to want to pick a different column. Okay. Um, Now, if you only have 2 bars, like I had gender, right? I had male and female. Actually, I have male, female, and others, so that's cool. But if I only have 2 bars, that's fine. Okay. But if you have too many, that's not going to work. Okay. Um, yeah, so maybe a better one would have been bar plot with data position. There's only so many positions in soccer, right? So this is a much more readable chart. I can clearly see, this one's defender, this one's the forward one, okay? So this one only has 4 bars. Like I said, if you're at 20 or more, it's probably too much, okay? Um, I mentioned earlier also don't use names. Name is not a qualitative variable, it is a label. Okay. If I had done bar plot on name, what would that look like? This is another terrible bar chart. I have one person named Abel Aguilar. I got one person named Georgian. Apparently I've got two people over here named Carlos Sanchez, but yeah, this is not a useful bar chart. So okay, let's go back to what we were doing. So I've got this one. I've got number 4. I've got my bar chart. Uh, Question number 5, create a relative frequency bar chart of the same qualitative variable and paste it below. Okay. Okay. So let's go back over to our data. I'm doing the video game one, so here it is. And we're going to do graph bar plot with data. We're going to select the same column that we did before, but this time I'm going to change the frequency to a relative frequency. And I'll hit compute. Oh, shoot. So wait, what did I do wrong? They look the same. That's a question for you guys. What did I do wrong? Why do they look the same?
One is higher.
So when you say one is higher, you mean the numbers?
The first bar, it looks like it's a little higher than the second one on the other one. On the
Oh, okay. I'll move it down a little bit. They should look exactly the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I try turning it off and turning it on again. So my question is, why do they look this? Did I mess up? They look the same, and you probably heard me say a second ago they should look the same. So it was a trick question. When I'm doing this, I expect that they are going to look the same. They're not the same exactly though. If I hover over this bar, I can see that I got more female video gamers than male. That's interesting. I have 9,300 female gamers. If I hover over this one, this is not doing a count. This is doing a relative frequency. It's giving me a percent. It's saying that 0.53 or 53% of my gamers are female. Okay. So your graphs should also look the same, but the difference is the y-axis. You can tell that this one is looking at large numbers because I'm counting lots of people. This one over here, all of the numbers are decimals. They're numbers between 0 and 1 uh, because it's taking those counts and dividing by the total. Okay. So, all right. So we're good. And you can actually see that if I had changed this, if I had clicked on this button right here where it says value above the bar, now you can actually see the height. This is 0.53. If I did the same thing for this one and clicked on the value above the bar, this one is 9,000. So you can see that those are not the same number. Okay. Yeah, Mike says he wishes he has two screens. Yeah, as a data analyst, two screens is a must. So I don't know if you guys saw my desk over there. I'll turn my video on. I have three screens at my desk when I'm doing math, so doing my reporting. So okay. All right, so I need to copy this relative frequency chart into question number 5. So I'm going to go back to my snipping tool. I'll click on new and I will drag it down. And there we go. What I like about the snipping tool is it actually puts it on your clipboard automatically. So I'm going to come over here and paste this in question number 5. All right. Yeah, so Nicole says she's doing her work on her laptop and Zoom on the iPad. So yeah, if you want to call in on Zoom and on your phone, and then you have your laptop that you're doing stuff along with, that's fine. Okay. Uh, okay. So what's next? So question number 6. Choose a qualitative variable to make a pie chart with. Which variable did you use? Okay, so just like before, I did gender. Now I'm going to look at my other qualitative. We said that your data set has to have 2 qualitative variables, so now I'm going to look at the another one. Okay, so I'm going to close these. Now, when you close things in StatCrunch, if you're like, oh, I closed it, I need that back. It's okay. It actually just minimizes it. Up here in the upper left, you can see where it says StatCrunch 3. If I click on the results, I can see what the stuff that I hid, and you can bring that bar chart back. Okay. So don't worry about if it's not gone forever. Okay. Also, if you click on one of the bars, it'll turn like everything pink. And you're like, oh God. There's a clear button in the lower left. You can unclear the pink ones. So I don't know, maybe we'll make the female pink and the male blue. I guess I don't know what color to make other, but anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. So my next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pie chart of a different qualitative variable. So I'm going to do this one, favorite game type. Okay, so I'm going to enter that for number 6. Choose a second variable. What did you choose? Favorite game type. All right. All right, create a pie chart of the second qualitative variable, and we'll do graph pie chart with data. Oh, pie chart, gross. Oh, hate pie charts. Um, so as a data analyst, we strongly recommend avoiding pie charts as much as you can. Okay. Um, so uh, I'll show you why that is, but let me jump over here. All right, so we're gonna go to graph pie chart with data. And I'm going to select the column I want favorite game type. And I'll hit compute. Ugh, and here's my gross pie chart. Okay, it's fine. I mean, there's a time and place to use pie charts, and I'll talk about that in a second. But all right, so let me just drop this into my answer, and then we'll go from there. All right, so create a pie chart, paste it in. There we go. Now, when you're doing this pie chart, again, just like the bar chart, you don't want too many things. If you have like 10 or 15 different pie slices, that's probably too much. Okay. It makes it impossible to read. You won't even be able to see what some of the slices are, right? If I'm looking, let me go back over here to the soccer one. So if I looked at team and I do a graph pie chart with data and I do team and I hit compute, this is a terrible pie chart. Okay. I can't even read this. There's a purple slice right here, but I don't know which purple that is. They actually reused purple over here and here and here. So I guess this one's Germany. Okay. But um this is too many slices. So a pie chart would not be a good choice here. Pie charts are best when you have 2, maybe 3. I'll let you do 3, but if you have 2 categories like male, female, yes, no, then it's okay to use a pie chart. Even then, I would try to avoid it. I would prefer using a bar chart. The reason why is because humans are very good at telling the area of rectangles. Visually, you can look at this and you can say, if I asked you, which of these is bigger, the sports or this neon purple, or sorry, neon blue over here? What is this? Neon blue is real-time strategy. If I asked you which of these is bigger, sports or real-time strategy? I mean, the numbers are here. You can look at the numbers, but that's not the point. If I give you the numbers, then just put it in a table, right? Or spreadsheet. The point of a visual like this, like a pie chart or a graph, is you can look at it and get insights very quickly. Okay. Um, Even looking at action versus sports, where they're right next to each other, I can kind of see the action one is bigger, but it's hard to see. On the other hand, if I had done this as a bar plot, as a bar chart with favorite game type, I can clearly see, let me widen it out so I can see all of my categories. So now, without looking at the numbers, I can clearly see that real-time strategy versus sports, the real-time strategy is slightly bigger. I can compare action to sports or real-time strategy, and even though they're on opposite sides of the bar chart, I can clearly see that the action one is slightly bigger than the real-time strategy. Okay. Just because, you know, humans are very good at telling the area of rectangles. Now, that said, humans like rounded shapes. So that's why people like pie charts, because they look, rounded. So, it's a give or take, but if I had done a pie chart for the gender one, I would have been okay with that. This, I can clearly see that I have more female than male. So this is an okay pie chart because I only have a couple categories. Jordan, you have 4 categories. You're totally fine. So if you have 15 categories, I'm okay with that. Just put it in there. But if you have more than that, you're going to want to pick a different column. Okay. All right. Let's go back to, I'll get off my soapbox. Stop talking about pie. Okay. I don't like pie charts. I like pie, regular pie. But okay. Question number 8. Choose a quantitative variable to make a histogram with. Which variable do you choose? Okay. So let's come back over here. I can close all this stuff that I got open. And I need a quantitative variable. So a quantitative variable is going to be numbers. I'm going to use age. I could use this one, spent per year, but you'll notice that the spent per year, like, it all looks like it's rounded. Like, did this person actually spend exactly $100 last year on video games? Maybe, but it's more likely that they spent like, $98.48, right? So probably, it's all rounded. So I'm going to use age. So which column did which variable did you choose? I'm using age. Okay. All right. So to do the histogram, it says I do graph histogram. Okay. So I'm going to hover over graph and then histogram. Now I'm going to select my column, and it only has a couple columns to pick from, and that's because it's only giving you the ones that are numbers. It knows that if you want to do a histogram, you can't do a histogram on gender or device, okay? You would do a bar chart for that, okay? A histogram is a type of bar chart, but it's a special type of bar chart where the x-axis, the column is quantitative, okay? So I'll select age and then I'll hit compute. And here it is, okay? This is my histogram. You'll also notice the difference between a histogram and a bar chart is there's no space in between the bars, okay? And that's because this bar right here represents the ages from 15 years old up to 19.99 years old. So, well, what about 20? It says 15 to 20. Well, this bar right here also says 20, okay? What if you are exactly 20 years old? Are you counted in both bars? The answer is no. This is 15 up to 19.9999 years. If you're exactly 20, you will be in this bar. Okay. We'll talk more about that next time. Let's not worry too much about that. This is my histogram. Let's go ahead and grab a screenshot of this. Okay. And then we're going to come over here to this spot and drop it in. Okay. That looks good. And now question number 10, create a relative frequency histogram, same quantitative variable, and paste it below. Okay. So we'll go back over here and go to graph, histogram, select the same column again, but this time instead of choosing frequency, we'll do relative frequency. And you don't have to. I'm going to click value above the bar just so we can see the numbers. So you can see that these numbers are all decimals. That's what tells you it's a relative frequency chart versus a frequency chart. Relative means your bars are all looking at what percent of people are in this bar versus a frequency is just counting the people. Okay. So I've got 8,500 people in this bar, which makes up 49% of my video gamers are between the ages of 15 and 20, which makes sense, right? Apparently I've got some 1-year-olds playing video games down here. Got some 80-year-olds. All right, so I'm gonna again screenshot this one. Relative frequency. I'll drop that in question number 10. Okay. Now, when we were talking about bar charts and pie charts, I was saying like, if you got 20 different categories, that's probably too much. This is 20 different bars here, and that's fine. Okay. When you're doing a histogram, you want to make sure that your bars are not too wide and they're not too thin. Now, the good news is StatCrunch will handle that for you, so you don't need to worry about that. But this is an important point when you're dealing with real world data in your own data, in your own job. You can't make your histogram bars too wide or too thin. Okay. Oh, if it turns pink, it's the same thing. It means you clicked on one of the bars. You just hit the clear in the lower left. I mean, if you send me a screenshot of, some pink bars, I'm fine with that. Okay. But there's a clear button in the lower left. If I had made my bars too wide, like if I had made this 20, and you don't need to do this because this is not a good idea. This is not a good relative frequency bar chart. What happened is I combined the 0 up to 20 bars all into a single bar, and now it looks like this is huge, but this is a giant age range. I This is the people from 0 years old up to 20 years old. That's a vastly different age group. Okay, a 1-year-old and a 20-year-old are totally different. Okay, so if you make your bars too thin, you can have a similar problem where it's not giving you valuable insights. Okay, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because as a data analyst, part of your job is to take the data and create the chart and analyze the data, but the other part is presenting that data. Okay, I'm not just doing this math for myself. Usually, as a data analyst, I'm presenting this to my leader or the department head. I've worked where I was providing reports to the CEO of the company. And if it's not readable, if the chart is not readable, it's going to be a problem. When I worked at the NSA, I didn't do any charts that landed on the president's desk, but some of my co-workers did. And so, like, if this chart ends up in the president's hands and can't read it, like, that's not good. Okay. So, that's why I'm talking about, like, why this pie chart looks bad or why this bar chart looks bad. Okay. I know that, like, that's not necessarily the main thing. The main thing we're going to talk about in this class is, doing the statistics and doing the analysis. But interpreting the data is an important part. Okay. We'll see that more as we go. Anyway, I'm going to get off I'm just climbing on soapboxes all night long. We have one question left. do your quantitative data appear to be skewed left, skewed right, or symmetric? Now, we didn't ask this for the qualitative data. So if I go up here and I look at this qualitative data, it looks like maybe it's skewed right. But that doesn't make any sense, okay? Because qualitative data, these bars are just in order, like males, so like females first, males next, and then other. Did it have to be in that order? No, I could have done male first or female and female second. Like the bars in a qualitative data set um, are not in any particular order. Like this one that I had earlier, um, is this skewed left, skewed right? Well, the bars are just in alphabetical order, the categories are. So when you're talking about skewed left and skewed right, it's only when you're talking about quantitative data. So here is my relative frequency chart, and this is quantitative, so we can talk about skew left and skew right because these bars have to be in this order. You wouldn't rearrange the order of the ages. That doesn't make any sense, okay? So when we're talking about skew left and skew right, what I like to do is I like to imagine, you've got this mountain here, and I'm at the top of this mountain. So here I am, and I'm going to ski. Do I want to ski to the left or do I want to ski to the right? Well, I don't want to ski to the left because I'm going to fall off this cliff and die. So I'm going to ski to the right. So mine is skewed right. Oh, skewed right because the tail is to the right. Okay. Yeah, left to once. Nice, Corbin. Um, so in my case, it's skewed to the right. And most of your data probably is going to be skewed right, um, because your tail probably goes off to the right. You might have some outliers out here to the right. So like you might have some gaps in your bars. And if that happens, then you have outliers. So you could say it's skewed right because there are outliers, there are high outliers to the right. Okay. It is possible you have some skew left. Which direction do you guys have? Skew left, skew right, or symmetric? What'd you guys get? Skew right, skew right. Yeah. And that's normal, partly because we don't really talk about negative numbers all that often. If I was looking at, let's say I was looking at household income, we wouldn't talk about negative income. That's debt. It's a different thing. So if I was looking at a graph of American household incomes, it would be skewed right because I would have some outliers that are way out here that are making, $1 million or $1 billion a year. Okay. Skewed right because the tail's going towards the right. Now I do have a tiny little tail. So the tail is this part right here. I do have this tiny little tail right here, but that's not as big as the one to the right. Okay. Now, it doesn't have to be perfectly symmetric to be symmetric. So maybe if instead I had looked at, let's do, let's say I did this one, and let's say I had done graph my histogram on distance. So this one, I would say, is symmetric. It's not perfectly symmetric. You can see that my tail to the left is maybe a little bit bigger than the one on the right, but you can definitely see that like it goes up and it goes down at a pretty similar pace. Okay, so I would call this symmetric. Okay, because both sides are approximately the same. Um, okay, so that is the end of the assignment for the project today. So we're going to submit this in Canvas. To do that, in the upper right, you're going to click on Share. Oh man, it's going slow for me. So you're going to click on Share in the upper right. And then right now, you are the only person that can look at this because it's restricted. So if you submit it to me right now, I will not be able to grade it. So you're going to click on this drop down right here and change it to anyone with the link. And then you're going to copy the link with this button. Click on copy link. And now it's been copied to the clipboard in some, magical clipboard, mystical space in your computer. And we're going to come over here to Canvas. And if you, so I'm in the Chapter 2 Project 1. If I scroll to the bottom, there's a button for web URL. I'll click on that and I will paste that huge link in here. And then I'll click Submit Assignment. And I get confetti. I'm done. Okay, that's it. Okay, so once again, what I did was I clicked on Share, changed from restricted, changed it to anyone with the link. I clicked on the copy link. I went over here to Canvas, went to web URL. I pasted that here and hit submit assignment. Okay. Oh, I get fired. Okay. All right. So that's it for tonight. So we've covered the Chapter 2 project. Now it is due on Thursday, sorry, today's Thursday. Sorry. It's due on Tuesday. But you already did it. You just submitted it, so you're done with that. Okay. If you come to the Zoom sessions, we'll do the assignments together and you'll be done. Okay. All you have to worry about is the lecture notes, 2.3 lecture notes and the 2.4 lecture notes. And try to have those done by Monday. Cindy will see you on Monday, and I will see you on Tuesday to cover the Chapter 2 review and the Google Sheet project. Okay. I'm going to stop the recording. Anyone who has questions, feel free to stick around. If you're good, have a good weekend.
I will see you